Welcome to the On Your Side podcast. I'm Gary Harper.
And I'm Susan Campbell. Today, we're talking about childcare challenges.
If you want to hire a babysitter, you want to make sure it's the right fit for your family, right? So you can consider background checks, experience, certification, and availability. But now parents are even dealing with something called sitter stealing.
Today, we're talking with Natalie Mayslich. She's the president of Care.com. She says there's a brand new way to book babysitters on demand. And of course, we are going to ask her what we should actually plan to pay for a sitter.
This is On Your Side with Susan Campbell and Gary Harper, an Arizona's Family Originals podcast.
Welcome to the On Your Side podcast. I am Gary Harper.
And I'm Susan Campbell.
No impressions this week.
Thank you. Nobody needed to hear any actors.
Did it not sound like Matthew McConaughey a little?
It didn't, no. Even
Okay.
Todd over here, our audio engineer, is going, no,
Okay.
no, absolutely
All right.
not.
Listen, I tried, but obviously I failed. So we're just going to keep it like me.
Let's just jump right in.
Jump right in.
We like your voice.
Yes.
Let's stick with that.
All right, well, we'll stay with that then. I thought it was kind of like a, break the ice a little bit, but didn't work, did it?
No.
All right, well, if you haven't heard my Matthew McConaughey, you have to listen to the last
The previous episode.
The previous episode.
You will also roll your eyes at him.
Anyway, how was the weekend?
It was good. How about yours?
It was good. It always goes by too fast.
It sure does.
Did you do anything with the kiddos?
We played in the backyard a whole bunch.
Oh, it was great weather.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun.
It was really nice. I mean, like in the 80s, you can't beat that.
beat
The
it.
sun was out. Remind everybody about your kiddos, their ages and stuff.
My son is 4.5.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter will be 2 in July.
Okay.
So they're super fun ages, and they're little people, and they have
Yeah.
their own little personalities. And
Yeah.
they're very,
Yeah.
very busy.
That learning stage, you're learning a lot, right?
Absolutely.
What do you do for childcare?
Well, they go to daycare while we're at work, and we were actually able to. A couple of the people who worked at their daycare, when they got new jobs, we were able to get their phone numbers and retain them as babysitters if we want to go play golf or something like that.
Yeah, that's good because you've already kind of like vetted them then, right?
Yeah,
That's-
absolutely.
Yeah, kind of scary leaving your kids with somebody maybe for the first time, and
It sure is.
Yeah.
There's always that anxiety when you're a parent and you're not right there,
Yeah.
right?
we have a producer. I'm not going to name names, but we have a producer who went to Vegas and she wanted a babysitter for her child. And she went through like some kind of a babysitting service, but that really scares the daylights out of me, right? I mean, because you don't know what...
A lot of times babysitting services do a ton of background checks for you and everything, so
That's
it's kind
true.
of all handled.
That's true.
Kind of a really good case scenario.
Well, you have to research the company as much as you do the babysitter themselves. Childcare. I'm lucky because my kids are out.
Your kids could be my kids' babysitters.
They could, yes, and they need to earn extra money. So let me know, okay?
I'll call them.
I am fortunately an empty nester, so I don't have to mess with these things anymore. Which is, but I went through a lot when they were young. But that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about childcare and babysitter stealing. Have you heard about this before?
You know what? I didn't know there was a term for it, but it happened to me. There was a mom in my kid's school, and she reached out to me, and she was super kind of apologetic almost. And she was like, I don't like to go out on date nights with my husband and have to come home and see my mom and dad every single time we go on a date.
Yeah.
Do you mind passing along the phone number of your babysitter? And I thought about it for a little bit, and I was like, oh gosh, I can't say no.
Right.
But I also don't want to say yes, because what if they have plans the same night we do?
Right. Or maybe they pay more.
Well, I don't know how that's possible, because it feels like I pay out the nose. But it happens, though, right? We are chatting with Care.com, Natalie. Sitter stealing. This happens.
This happens, yes, absolutely. In fact, we found that over 40% of families had a babysitter stolen from them. That's mind-blowing, right?
That's kind of personal when you take somebody's babysitter like that.
It sure is.
Hey, Natalie Mayslich is the president of Care.com, and we're going to talk a little bit about that and what it does and what it offers. But tell us a little bit about yourself, Natalie. Do you have kids?
I do. I have 3. So I have a 7-year-old daughter who is probably my best babysitter for my 4-year-old identical twin boys.
Oh my goodness, wow. You're busy.
So tell us about care.com. How did you come up with this company and exactly what does it do?
Sure. So care.com helps families find the care they need, whether it's childcare or senior care or housekeeping and even pet care. Historically, families would come to us, tell us their needs, and we would help find them a background checked caregiver to fulfill on their needs. We now have added simplicity and ease to that process so they can come in and for the date night or for when your friend or producer goes to Vegas, they can directly book for the days that they need. And we will help find a sitter for those days almost instantly. So in as little as 15 minutes.
So let's say Susan is traveling out to Vegas. What does she do?
I'm not that cool, but that would be great.
What does she do for her 2 kids? She gets a hold of care.com, and what do you do?
So Susan can go to care.com/book, register, tell us a little bit about her 2 kids, how old they are, what they like, the days when she'll be in Vegas. We present her with an option of 10 background check babysitters who have been reviewed by other families. And so you know they're good. They've taken care of children like yours. You select the caregivers that you like. We then go back and ensure that they're available. And if they are, they will show up at the time that you designated for the duration that you've designated. And if for whatever reason they're not available, we'll quickly surface up 5 more caregivers who are, and you can look at them, check out their reviews, check out their profiles, ensure you're comfortable with them, have a conversation, and then select one of them, be ready to go out on date night and have a great time on the town in Vegas.
I think a lot of the choosing a babysitter comes with, just that initial interaction you have with them, having a conversation, kind of interviewing them, getting that feel. I think a mom's intuition or a dad's intuition a lot of times is the most comforting thing that can go into choosing a babysitter. Do you get that same level of comfort from, a list of 10 people that pop up?
Well, what we do is ensure the baseline needs are met. So are they available for when you need them? No matter how much you like someone, if they're not there, if they're not available, sort of, you're out of luck. And so we ensure they're available. We ensure they're background checked. We've already ensured they've taken care of other children in your age range. And so the baseline needs are met. And now really the question is, do I gel with them? Do I like them? Do I trust them with my children? And to your point, once we've ensured the baseline is met, you have a conversation, you have a Zoom call. If the use case is travel, ensure you're fully comfortable and they meet you right there. And so I think what we're able to do is really streamline that process. So all of the fundamentals are locked and now it's really just about the fit.
How did you get involved with this? How did this get created?
So care.com was founded 15 years ago in order to really help connect those families with the care that they need. But what we found, call it over the course of the past 3 years, is babysitting is really hard through the pandemic, especially when daycares were closed. Getting someone into your home when families are working, when we're going through sort of hybrid working environments, when folks' hours have changed, has just become harder and harder. The cost of babysitting has gone up, the cost of childcare has gone up. And so the question we've asked ourselves is really, what is the best product, or how do we make it easy for families to be able to get done what they want to get done? Whether it's working families whose moms work out of the house, or it's just being able to go out on a date night together. What's the simplest, easiest thing we can do to really change folks' lives? And that's where this sort of concept of being able to instantly book a sitter came from. And we're really excited to be in the market with it for 6 months now.
How many users do you have or how many babysitters do you have on the other end that are available for this kind of instant access?
So we have over hundreds of thousands of babysitters on our platform that go in and out of whether they're available. They may be, taking a nanny job. And so depending on the time, I would say over 70% are available, generally available. They may not be available for the date and time that you need. But because we have such a variety and it's nationwide, our fulfillment rate and our ability to meet a family where they are with the care that they need is very high.
Different categories too, which is interesting. It's not just childcare. You mentioned earlier in the podcast that it's seniors as well, and that's kind of interesting. Tell us about that.
Sure. So care.com services or aims to service families of all types. And that often includes help with our elderly parents. We don't have an instantly booking product available for them yet. The first vertical where we launched this was within childcare for babysitting as a response to the pandemic and as a response to all those families who are pulling their hair out trying to figure out how to get care into the home for when they need it. But we have a large percentage of families who are coming to us because their seniors would like to age in the home. And in order to do that, as different medical conditions come up, as the need to drive mom to a doctor's appointment comes up, they come with different requests, like I need someone who has a driver's license, who can take mom to her doctor's appointment, who has a basic fundamental understanding of how to deal with a certain medical condition. So folks tell us their needs, and we help match them with caregivers who can fulfill on that care need.
I have to ask you, what should I be paying a babysitter?
So the average rate in Phoenix is now $20.61 an hour.
Okay. I'm right on the nose.
Wow.
I always ask the babysitter what they would like to be paid. I don't offer it up, but I have my baseline, and if they say less than that, I always pay them, what I normally am comfortable paying.
I think when I was paying babysitters 20-something years ago, I think that was what I paid for the entire night out.
I was about to ask, since you're an empty nester and the children are out of the home, what is your take on inflation here?
Well, maybe I got a deal back then. I don't know. I mean, I paid $25 back then.
For our podcast listeners who can't see him right now, Gary's eyes are bugging out of his head. He is just beside himself.
I'm breaking into a sweat.
And he's considering becoming a babysitter.
I know. I think I want to become a babysitter on care.com. Holy moly.
It's always a hard conversation. I think for some babysitters, if you're hiring younger babysitters, often who haven't had that many jobs, sometimes they struggle with asking for a rate. Mm-hmm. So it's really good, I think, for parents to know what the average is. What are people actually paying? So it feels fair. You don't want to undercut somebody. Mm-hmm. And then have them go to the next family over because they found out they pay $2 an hour more, right?
Right. So let's go back to the scenario that Susan is going to Vegas, and she has 2 kids.
In my dream world,
4 and 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
How much will Susan have to pay care.com to watch her kids?
So Susan can be a premium subscriber on care.com so that she gets all of the access for Instant Book and to find a long-term nanny and any other care need that she might need. And so Susan can pay her monthly subscription, or Susan can decide to just pay for her trip to Vegas, in which case it would be the cost of care in Vegas, so the hourly cost for the caregiver, plus a 30% transaction fee to care.
What's the hourly in Vegas?
Whatever the babysitter wants.
Oh, really? So they just name their price?
Babysitters come to our platform and name the price. That's right. We know the average in the area, but babysitters name their price, and we'll negotiate with families as necessary based on hours, days, etc.
Right. What about the housekeeping? You do housekeeping as well, right?
We do housekeeping. We have not yet launched a similar product in housekeeping, but families come to us looking for housekeeping help. They post a job, they have caregivers respond, they negotiate a rate, and then are able to find a housekeeper on the platform as well.
How much background do you do on somebody who wants to watch kids? How thorough is that?
So we do safety checks. We do what we call baseline safety checks, criminal records checks, the obvious. We always tell families and provide safety guidelines for both sides, right? This is oftentimes for families, there's safety vetting that needs to happen, but there's also our young babysitters. Some are, in their older teen years, so 19, 20. What are the safety guidelines that they need to know to ensure that they're safe in someone else's home? So there's guidelines provided on both sides in addition to the baseline checks.
What about like CPR and safety issues like that? Do they have to be qualified in that?
We don't require them to be qualified, particularly since depending on the age of child, it may be incredibly important. So for an infant, CPR certification is very important. For a school-age child, important, but not as important. But it's certainly one of the points that we give families to be aware of that they should ask do you have safety certification, or CPR certification, can you validate it? So it's part of more so the guidelines that we give families, so families opt to follow the ones that are most important to them.
For somebody like me who wants to be a good babysitter hirer, what are the questions that a babysitter might ask me that I should be prepared to answer, or how can I be a really good babysitter employer?
Sure. So babysitters want to do, particularly ones who are listed on care.com, want to make a great impression. So they get a great review, right? What they want from you is they want to deliver a fantastic experience. And so what you can tell them is, effectively, here are the things that you need to know in order to be successful in my home. Here's how you get into the home. Here's, my child's favorite foods. Here are some great activities. Here's what to do in case of a temper tantrum. And here's how often I expect to be communicated with. That's probably the biggest one, where we find families, we get both ends. Families are unhappy with, there wasn't enough communication. She didn't send me pictures, or, oh my gosh, she was texting me every hour with pictures when I was trying to be productive at work. And so set that baseline of, here's how often I want to hear from you. Here's what the kind of content I would like to see. I'd love pictures. And in fact, we make that even easier for families, where we now ask families as part of our assessment process on, how often do you want to be contacted? What are allergies your kids have? What does the caregiver need to know about getting into your home, such that a caregiver is already equipped with that information before they even come into your home or into a hotel if you're in Vegas, and can provide that level of service. It's really about ensuring the family is satisfied and ensuring the caregiver has everything she needs in order to be successful on that day.
Yeah, we have a lot of listeners across the nation, so I just want to clarify that this is nationwide, right? So if we have listeners in Dallas or say San Antonio, they can acquire services, right?
Absolutely, we're available nationwide.
Wow. All right.
We got when Cormac was first born, we had a nanny in-house 2 days a week who we found on care.com, and we loved her and adore her and miss her dearly.
You used it, huh? Wow.
We did, way back when he was so little. But we did that. This was before the instantaneous thing. So we interviewed 3 people. We invited 3 different people to our houses to do the quick interview to make sure we were comfortable. And we just, one person clicked with us perfectly.
Best babysitter I ever had, found her on our church bulletin board.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Do we use bulletin boards anymore?
I don't think so.
I don't know. I'm dating myself, right?
Again,
I mean
$25 night out and bulletin board location. Yeah.
I am revealing too much. Oh, no, she was great, though. She was really, really good.
But that's the thing. People don't want to share.
Right.
Because if you find a really good one, you probably wouldn't have shared her phone number.
Absolutely not.
She was yours.
Yes, she was. Yeah, and she did a great job. Now I feel bad that I only paid her $25 for a night.
I have to ask, do people come to you all the time? You are a mom and you're at care.com. Do people come to you and say, who's the actual very best babysitter?
Oh my gosh, all the time. Here's the one thing that I will say. By the way, I don't know who the best babysitter is. There are so many on the platform. And so best for me may be very different for a different family. But the one thing that I will say, which is, your church bulletin board is not a unique example. It happens often. There's one thing that you have to ensure, whether you're hiring from care.com or hiring elsewhere, is background checks are key. Doesn't matter if it's coming from a friend, a family member, you never know. It's your child. Do the safety check.
Yeah.
You have to. Yeah.
Hey, so when are you going to Vegas, Susan?
You think I'm so cool, and I'm just not.
Yeah.
If I can get away for a round of golf, it feels like magic.
Well, you're missing a lot in Vegas.
I know, I guess. You apparently love it.
I do.
Well, you can go now because your kids are older.
That's true.
And say there's people like me who don't have kids, but I have pets. And so they also do You guys also do you can set up
pet sitting
stuff to take care of your pets, right?
Do you do pet sitting?
We do. We do pet sitting and boarding. And in fact, travel for pets is probably our biggest use case for families who are looking for pet care. They travel and they either are bringing their dog with them and want to ensure there's someone who can watch their dog during the day, or leaving their dog at home and want someone who will be able to come in and either check in or board in someone else's home.
Hey, Todd mentioned earlier that he and his wife don't have kids, but he thought it was okay just to leave a couple of bowls of food and some water for the kids. Good idea or not?
I'm going to say no. That's a hard one, though.
In your expert opinion.
All right.
Oh, gosh.
Listen, Natalie, so good to talk to you today. We learned a lot, and I've learned that I'm pretty darn old, I guess.
That's okay. We'll keep you around.
Listen, $21 an hour. Yeah, not bad. Not bad for a babysitter. Hey, for people who want to know more about you, Natalie, or care.com, where can they find you? Where can they go?
Care.com/book if you're looking to book a babysitter. And I'm on LinkedIn if you want to reach out directly.
All right. That sounds really good. Natalie, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. Talk soon.
The On Your Side podcast is produced by Brad Denny. Our audio engineer and editor is Todd Martin. Segment producer is Colin Stanton. And I'm Gary Harper.
And I'm Susan Campbell. If you have a problem you can't resolve, maybe we can. Send us a message through azfamily.com or our AZ Family mobile app. Look for the On Your Side section and leave us a message. Thanks so much for listening to the On Your Side podcast. And if you like it, leave us a review. We'll see you next week.
On Your Side is on Good Morning Arizona every weekday morning at 6:45 and 7 o'clock, and every weekday evening on Good Evening Arizona at 4 and 5 o'clock. You can also catch it on Arizona's Family News at 9 on 3TV every weeknight.